Zabik back with another edification. I want to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. I want to thank all of my subscribers. I want to wish all of my subscribers high health and high spirits. And I want to wish all of my subscribers are safe and protected against these agendas that are waged against us here behind enemy lines here in America. Let me put this in airplane mode real quick. I wanted to discuss universalism and paganism. Universalism and paganism has ruined the families of the world, pretty much, and especially the world of Yasharala, the Israelites, the so-called Black, Latino, Native American, Indians. Paganism and universalism is pretty much the spiritual law here in Babylon, and I'm gonna read up on this a little bit. I've given it some thought, and I just wanted to get this out. It says paganism. The definition of paganism is a broad term for polytheistic or nature-worshiping religions, excluding mainstream Abrahamic faiths like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Now, Christianity, Judaism are not Abrahamic faiths, all right? Christianity and Judaism is actually universalism, and it actually falls under paganism, okay? These Edomites, the so-called whites, attempt to redefine the laws of the Most High and the faith of the Most High, Yahweh. Paganism is exactly what Christianity is, and Judaism is paganism as well, right? Islam has an Abrahamic faith, of course, because Ishmael, the so-called Arabs, are the children of Abraham as well. We know that Hagar was the mother of Ishmael. All right. And let's keep reading. It says, it encompasses both ancient indigenous belief systems such as Greco-Roman or Norse polytheism and modern revived spiritual movements. It says pagan belief systems are highly diverse. And while paganism is diverse, the Israelite customs or religion is specific. All right, it's not as broad as universalism. It's specific. All right, it's exclusive. All right, not inclusive. So what I was thinking was the way families have been broken up by paganism, starting with the woman. All right, the women here behind enemy lines here in America and all across the globe, wherever paganism and universalism is practiced by the Edomites, and where they make it pretty much a spiritual law, wherever they are, the families are destroyed, right? The women are no longer traditional as far as the scripture goes, especially the Israelite woman, all right? She continues to give birth out of wedlock, and she gets punished by the Lord, Yahweh, but she doesn't, but she expects to get away with not being a wife or not regarding herself as a wife traditionally according to the scripture because of paganism. Paganism allows her to bring forth children out of wedlock. And what I was thinking about was if men thought like women, pagan, universal women, and only decided to have as many children as they could without commitment, right? Then the men would be just as terrible as these women. Now, there are males, okay, that are practicing paganism and universalism. And in the courts, these two pagan worshipers clash and end up penalizing the men, or the males and the men rather. But I'm saying the pagan worshiping males get penalized while the pagan worshiping women take advantage of this system that puts their paganism and universalism first. The women that practice paganism get away with having children out of wedlock, having as many children as they want, while staying separate from being a wife and being married. All right, so paganism and universalism pretty much allows women to not be wives and to continue being wicked and whores and bring forth children out of wedlock, while the males and the men are penalized for practicing the same practice, right? It doesn't exclude the men the way it excludes the women, right? And this is why Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, are the blame for enforcing paganism and universalism through their religions, right? And they make it pretty much a spiritual law where they dwell. So what I was thinking about was in the scripture, First Corinthians and 11, it says, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Yahushua." It says, "Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you." Now, the ordinances are not pagan. All right. This is a Israelite ordinance. It says, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is Yahweh." All right, the Most High. So this is not paganism. This is why trying to find a wife in this current world that we're living in here behind enemy lines here in America and wherever these Edomites, the so-called whites, are, it's difficult to find that wife that obeys according to faith and works. All right. And I thought it was obvious, to see that the scripture does not promote universalism or paganism. All right. The Bible is not a pagan Bible, although there are different versions, because these different versions had to be created in order for paganism and universalism to promote their behaviors and their wicked ways. All right, their pagan ways, right? Let's go back, and I'm gonna take it out of airplane mode real quick after I go back. Let's see. Let's go to worldly real quick. Worldly. Let me take this out of airplane mode. It's not gonna let me. see if it'll let me open this up. Let's see, it's not letting me open this up. Let's see if it'll refresh. Just seen it. Not letting me. Let's see here. That's define worldly. Okay, worldly. Put this back in airplane mode. It says, worldly, having a sophisticated, practical understanding of human affairs, gained through wide experience. It refers to a primary focus on earthly life and material possessions rather than spiritual matters. So again, worldly, universalism, paganism, these are pretty much, they coincide. Okay, they coincide. Materialistic and secular, concerned with the affairs, pleasures, and material wealth of the physical world rather than religion, spirituality, or the afterlife. That, to me, coincides with paganism and universalism. Okay, because this is a Edomite way of life. All right, and this is going off. This is considered paganism as well. All right, the heathens practice this practice more than anybody, and of course, the daughters of Zion, they catch on to this worldly behavior, and of course they subscribe to paganism and universalism. And then there goes the family institution of marriage as well. And these are like parasites. These values are parasitic. All right. So here in 1 Corinthians 11:3, it says, "But I will have you know that the head of every woman is Yahweh, the head of every man is Yahweh Shai, and the head of every woman is the man, and the head of Yahweh Shai is Yahweh, the Most High." Now, these worldly women will say that the Lord is their head, or, they'll say things like, Christ is their head, right? And it's like these women are in constant competition with the men. And of course, the scripture explain how these women will compass a man, right? And try to usurp authority over the man. And that makes it difficult and impossible to find a wife. If the woman is putting Christ as her head, that's paganism. All right, that's paganism. Worshiping Christ is paganism. Okay, it allows these women to move like adulteress, and the men are in constant conflict with these pagan practices of these worldly women. And this is why it's, like I said, this is why it's impossible and damn near difficult, it's difficult but damn near impossible, rather, to find a wife, because of paganism and universalism has destroyed the values of the women. And the women are foolish and stupid enough to practice paganism because it allows them to decide or to reject, right, the men, and to decide what man they want to, deal with. And they can't even keep one pagan worshiping man, right? Because of paganism. It allows these women to reject men, whether they're righteous or unrighteous, right? So I'm saying to the men, be aware of the difficulty when it comes to a woman, um, whether in Babylon or abroad, that practices paganism and that worships Christ and that puts Christ as her head. All right, because that's paganism that's going off. All right, these women that are in European the European practices, they skip over the man and they go straight after Christ, or they go straight after universalism or paganism because it allows them to pretty much make decisions for themselves as far as who they consider their husband or who they consider respectable, right? And this Christ belief system pretty much allows them to move like adulterers and destroy households, destroy families, right? And this is why it's like sit back and watch how paganism and universalism is the driver of these belief systems that these females subscribe to. The women are not wise. The Most High did not depart wisdom upon the woman. All right, let me take this out of airplane mode so I can find that verse. Paganism enforces their stupidity, right? Let's see if I can. Go to Google. It's Job 39. Job 39 and 17. Let me put this back in airplane mode. Okay. Let me start at 11. Job 39 and 11. Will thou trust him? Let me see. Let me go. Let me go to the NLG. '39 and 17. It says that we're gonna start at 13. The ostrich flaps her wings grandly, but they are no match for the feathers of the stork. She lays her eggs on top of the earth, letting them be warmed in the dust. She doesn't worry that a foot might crush them or a wild animal might destroy them. She is harsh towards her young, as if they were not her own. She doesn't care if they die, for the Most High has deprived her of wisdom. He has given her no understanding. All right. But whenever she jumps up to run, she passes the swiftest horse with its rider. All right. So again, she's deprived of wisdom. Salakia. Oh, okay, that's the damn ambulance. She's deprived of wisdom. All right. And the Most High did not give her he did not give her understanding. All right. And that's what paganism allows these women to be foolish and stupid and dumb and damn near act like they're retarded when it went towards a man, even the father of their children. Okay. That's paganism and universalism, right? And that's why I say, men, save yourselves from a world that doesn't love you, because the men are outnumbered. Even the males are subjecting themselves to death, all right, because they are in constant sin, dealing with these pagan females, all right, and following behind their systems just to get along with them, right? Going along to get along with them. So be if fellas, if you come across a woman that practices paganism, or that says that Christ is her head, or she put the Lord first and all of that kind of rhetoric, that's paganism. All right, all of that is paganism. All right, the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the man is Yahweh Shai, and the head of Yahweh Shai is Yahweh. All right, that's the order. That's the order. That's the order of the scripture. But again, I would say, save yourselves from these women that practice paganism and universalism. All right. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahweh Shai, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahweh Shai is Yahweh. All right? The head of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach is Yahweh, the Lord, the Most High. All right? So that's the natural order. And again, it talks about paganism is more of a broad term, right? And the scripture does not condone paganism. All right, let's say paganism is against the scripture. It's against the Most High. Let's go ahead. Let me put this on airplane mode again. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18 and 9. When thou art coming to the land which the Lord Yahweh thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations, referring to paganism. It says, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, right? It says, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch. And that's just like witchcraft, paganism, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. And of course, these daughters of Zion, these so-called Black, Latino, Native American women, are all across the internet and the world practicing witchcraft, right? Tarot reading, right? It says, for all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord Yahweh. It says, and because of these abominations, the Lord your God doth drive them out from before thee. All right. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord your God. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearken unto observers of times, and unto diviners, witchcraft. But as for thee, as for you, the Lord thy God have not suffered these so to do. Okay, so have not suffered thee so to do. So again, the scripture does not push paganism and universalism. This is not a pagan Bible. All right. So I just wanted to touch on that, because the head of every woman is the man. All right. And the head of every man is Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach. So I just thought that was one of the main and is the biggest problem with men not having families. You know, when I had children, I wanted the total package. I wasn't trying to see how much vagina I can get. I wasn't trying to see how many women I can get pregnant. I wanted the woman and the children. All right. I was trying to start a family. But paganism, because these women subscribe to paganism and it allows them to be the head of their own household, I never had a family. All right. And then child support is a whole nother practice of wickedness, right? And the women do not sympathize with the men who want to have a family, the woman and the children together, and her being obedient in faith and in spirit, all right? In faith and in works, right? But all of that is biblical and ancient and sacred, right? So in the kingdom, we will have wives that are obedient and that cover down and align themselves with the Most High in faith and in works, right? So you know, you men, this should bring some clarity to why you're having a hard time finding a wife, but you're not having a hard time having sex or getting a woman pregnant on accident. And I mean, when I say accident, I mean you never thought that paganism and universalism and the woman subscribing to paganism and universalism was the mistake that you made. It wasn't a mistake trying to start a family. It was a mistake trying to start a family with a woman that subscribes to paganism and universalism. That's the mistake, right? So again, this has been a beat with another edification. I want to say all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. I want to thank all of my subscribers. I want to wish all of my subscribers high health and high spirits. I want to wish all of my subscribers are safe and protected against these agendas that are waged against us here behind enemy lines, here in America and abroad. Shalom.